I told you that 100% effort is a lot easier than 99% effort? Welcome to the Overcome Depression podcast. The tools you learn here can make depression a part of your past, allow healing regardless of your present circumstances, and offer hope for your future. I am your host, Jennifer Stirling-Campbell. As I'm recording this podcast now, I am completing the 5th video podcast of the day, and I am exhausted. I try to do a bunch of them all at once. It saves time, saves energy, and I try to sit down and do them about every other week. I'm making a lot of personal sacrifices to do these recordings, and so if you enjoy and feel like you are benefiting from these recordings and this podcast and these videos, and the workbook, if you could please leave me a 5-star review. Ratings do help. Thank you so much. Now back to the subject of our video. Why in the world would 99% effort be harder than 100% effort? Benjamin Hardy introduced this idea to me. I love Benjamin Hardy. And the way that he described it was that basically when we give ourselves that 1% of the time that we make an exception or an excuse, and we talked about excuses in one of these other recent videos and how very unhelpful they are, it opens up a way for us to take major setbacks when we could be making so much progress. For example, a drug addict or someone who's struggling, they may be making massive progress and they haven't indulged in a really long time. And suddenly they have a death in the family or a really, really hard day, or they lose their job and they make the decision subconsciously or consciously that I really need this right now. I really need this one right now. I'm just going to do it once and then I will never do it again. And we all know what happens when that happens. It has a tendency to pull us back right into where we were before and be kicking ourselves afterwards. Why did we do that? When we make a 100% commitment to abstain from a previous behavior, and that's not always 100% possible wherever we're at, we have to decide when we're ready to decide. And I talked a lot about that in introduction video number 5, if you want to review that. But the most important decision we will ever make is the decision to decide. It cuts off all other options and propels us in a new direction. It's miraculous. And when I do it, and when I've witnessed other people do it, it really does change your life. My life has been changed by decisions. Have I always been ready to make a decision? No. But when you are ready to make a decision, make it 100%, not almost, or maybe. Really commit to that 100%. This is what I used to do. Now I do this. That is not me anymore. Benjamin Hardy gave an example through one of his clients who was struggling with his weight. He wanted to be a fit, fabulous, healthy human specimen. A lot of the people in his family struggled with weight as well. And as he was talking to this client of his, he asked him what kind of goal he wanted to make for himself. And he decided that he was going to remove sugar from his diet. And then Benjamin asked his client, well, how long do you want to do that? And he said, I think I could do it for 3 months. And Benjamin asked him then, well, what about after that 3 months? Let's say you lose so many pounds, and then after that 3 months, then what? And his client realized that this could not be a 3-month decision. It would essentially just pull him right back into his previous lifestyle and his previous weight if he didn't make this a lifetime commitment. And so that's what he decided to do. He made that part of his new identity. I don't do that anymore. Now I eat these things. Now that's not always an easy place to get to. But it is my goal as we get you through this program that slowly and surely you will get to a point where you will be able to make some of these decisions. First small ones, and then these bigger ones. We can make the small ones now, that's okay. But let's make those, whatever decisions you make, whether it's to eat a banana every day. It could be that simple. But 100% commitment to that eating a banana every day. When I finally decided that I was going to defeat and overcome depression, I did not know how that was going to happen. I simply told God, or you, in your case, if you don't believe in God, the universe, that I was done being depressed, that I knew there was an answer, that I didn't know it, but that He was going to show it to me, and there were no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And I knew in my heart that that was going to happen. I didn't know how, but that was a decision I made. This is happening. And I simply let God and the universe know that I was ready, and that I was ready now. Now, did I stop taking my medication that day? No. I had to wait for those solutions to come to me, but it didn't take very long. We're talking about a month, maybe two, that things started rolling, started coming my way, things I'd never thought of before. And I talk about this a lot in my introduction videos of my story, how I came to this decision and then this realization and this enlightenment that I wanted to share with the world what I know now, that anyone, I believe with all my heart, that anyone can heal. And I do want to emphasize again, please work with your medical professional as you are healing from depression. Don't just stop taking meds. You do need to work with a therapist or medical professional so that you can do this safely. One of my favorite quotes is by Michael Jordan. He said that once I make a decision, I never think about it again. And that is a powerful statement and a powerful truth, because the truth is willpower does not work. Eventually, we run out of willpower. Eventually, we will give in to the thing that is that 1% pulling us away because we haven't quite decided yet, or we're not quite ready to let it go. Believe it or not, depression, anxiety are chemical addictions that our body produces. The body produces these chemicals that we become accustomed to, and then it continues to do it again because that becomes our normal. And throughout this program, I teach you tools that will help navigate that and get you out of that place. I want to tell one more story as it pertains to my grandmother. She was an amazing woman, one of the most forgiving people I have ever met. So kind, such a good heart. She struggled with addiction most of her life, or most of her young life. She would drink at night and would get very irritable with my grandfather, who essentially was very passive and put up with it for many, many years. But got to the point where he decided he just couldn't take it anymore, and he left. It still makes me emotional to think about the strength that this woman had, but that it took her losing the man she loved to make the decision. Because that day, the day he left her, was the day she put away the alcohol and never picked it up again. I think it's human nature to wait until it's almost too late to change, till we're faced with an imminent devastation that we're trying to avoid, whether it's health-related, relationship-related, and so forth. But sometimes it's those pivotal moments that change us. You may not be there yet. You may have already been there. You may be there now. I want you to consider now some of the behaviors you're doing right now. Take an inventory of your relationships, your life habits, and so forth from a place of compassion, please. And then look 10 years into the future. Ask yourself, if I keep doing what I'm doing in this area, how will my life and relationships look in 10 years? And then ask yourself, if I replace this behavior or habit with, and then fill in the blank, new habit, new reaction, new response, new behavior, how will my life and relationships look in 10 years? It might be also a good idea for you to visualize this future you want in the form of a vision board. You can either find copyright-free images online and print them off at your local Walgreens or Shutterfly, or find pictures in magazines or other colorful places that you can make into a poster and really help you identify with and feel the hope of this future. This is a picture of my vision board. I've had some of these things on here for a long time, others I've added, and then just some things that make me happy and bring me joy. Lastly, I want to leave you with a quote by my good friend Henry Amar, and I believe I've quoted this in previous videos, but it's just that good. The most important decision you will ever make is the decision to decide. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. I'm thankful for you. I'm thankful you are here. I'm grateful and thankful that you are healing. If you are new to this podcast, please go watch all of the hashtag introduction videos first, and then consider downloading the Overcome Depression workbook. Links in the description. The content in this podcast is based on my own personal beliefs, is for informational purposes only, and is not intended to substitute for medical advice, diagnoses, or treatment. Please refer to the full legal disclaimer in the description.